Today's guest is Mike Cerutti. Mike retired as a sergeant from the Illinois Department of Corrections with over 25 years of service. On today's episode, we're going to talk to Mike about everything from his college baseball days to his over 45 years of duck hunting experience. So please enjoy episode number 11 with my good friend, Mike Cerutti. Thank you. So, Mike, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate seeing you. I was thinking about this, too. The last time I laid eyes on you was at Wyatt's baseball game down in Vandalia.
Yep.
It was about a year ago. You
Yep.
remember that.
I sure do.
Life treating you all right? You look great.
Yeah, loving life. Take care of the sports complex in Hillsboro, mowing, getting the fields ready, and
Yeah, how's you're enjoying doing that? That's a good job for a
yeah,
retired
I get
guy,
to come and go as I please, and I'm done right when hunting season starts. So
Oh, that's perfect.
it's a great life.
Which we're getting ready to roll into that. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about how you grew up. I know you're from the great town of Hillsboro, Illinois, the home of the Hughes boys,
Yep.
amongst others.
Yep.
What was your life like growing up?
Pretty simple. I mean, we lived out in the country and really had the run of the area. You know, had just like any other kid in the country, did what you wanted. If you wanted to go out and shoot a gun, you shot a gun, and as long as you didn't shoot a window out, mom and dad were okay. Went to high school at Hillsboro, and
Now, I know you're a big sports guy. What sports were you involved in?
baseball and football.
Baseball and football.
Yeah.
Which did you like better?
I would say they were both about equal.
Really? Now, see, I thought for sure you were going to say baseball.
I would say both were about equal. I mean, later in life, of course, baseball, but football, I mean, we had a group of guys that worked hard together, and our senior year had a lot of success, and it was we're actually still real close today. About once every 2 years, 4 or 5 guys come home and
No kidding. So you guys
spend the weekend, and yeah, it's really good.
I'll be darned. Now, I know you played college baseball. Where did you start off at?
After graduating, I started out at Lewis and Clark and went there for a year, and then transferred to Lincoln Land in Springfield. And Lewis and Clark's in Godfrey.
Godfrey, okay,
Alton,
that's
Illinois.
right, not too far from St. Louis.
Yes, yes.
And then you went to Lincoln Land. Now, I know you had one fall season where things were really clicking for you.
Yeah, it was
Do
pretty.
you mind getting into that a little bit, or?
Yeah, it was pretty epic, really. I had played. I was playing men's major fast pitch softball the summer before the year that I transferred to Lincoln Land. So when I got to the fall season, the baseball actually looked like a beach ball, and it was. I mean, it's kind of inexplainable, really. But yes, it just looked like a beach ball, and had one game in particular where Merrimack. We were supposed to play Merrimack for a doubleheader, and they had a kid named Lonnie Macklin, who was like the premier athlete in the Metro East, and that game got canceled for some reason. So we had a inter-squad game.
Okay.
There were scouts there and everything, and it just so happened I had a really good game. I think I saw 4 or 5 pitches and had 2 home runs and a double off the wall.
And 4 or 5 pitches.
4 or 5.
Not at bats.
No, 4 or 5 pitches and 3 at bats.
Holy cow.
And after the game, Coach Crazy's like, "Hey, Mike, somebody wants to talk to you." And I'm thinking, who wants to talk to me? And it just so happened to be the Minnesota Twins and San Diego Padres had a bird dog scout there, which is local guys, but they do the whole area. And they talked to me and they said, "Hey, if you have any kind of spring after what we saw today, we'll try to sign you in the spring."
Oh, man. As a kid, that's just got to be. Well, let me ask you this. I'm thinking how great that is, but maybe not.
I was on cloud 9, really, but then with that brought a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It brought a lot of pressure. The coach, he changed my swing.
And I wonder why. You look at if a kid's hitting, and didn't you now? I might not be getting this right, but didn't you hit something crazy that fall, like 500-600?
It was 500-600. I mean, literally couldn't looking back, I know I made outs, a lot of them.
Right.
But there was a time where it didn't feel like I was ever going to make an out. And he decided he wanted to change my swing. And I went with it, because I'm like, well, coach knows more than I do.
Right. Yeah.
It's my fault, but it just didn't work out. I didn't have the spring that, was anticipated. And
What'd you hit in the spring?
probably 270, which is very respectful.
That's still a good average.
But it's not what they were looking for.
Right, yeah.
So, part of life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, man, baseball's such a frustrating sport. With my son playing it and watching through his eyes and everything, it's so much different than a lot of the other sports.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the major leaguers, 3 out of 10 times you're succeeding, 7 out of 10 you're failing.
Right. Yeah. You hit 300, you're in the Hall of Fame.
To me, it's the hardest sport there is to have continued success at.
I could see that. And the mental, it's a game of failure, really. That's what it seems to me anyway, just as an observation, it seems that it's more, you've got to be okay with, okay, I didn't have a good at bat, flush it, get the next one. And a lot of kids, I think, hold on to that. And it seems.
Yeah. The mental part of it is, I would say most of the time is more than the physical part.
Right.
So
you get done with baseball, your career comes to an end after that.
Yes, I was done.
And you kind of glossed over something. You mentioned the fast pitch softball. Okay, well, I remember as a kid growing up around here, it was huge in this area back in, I don't know, probably even the 70s, 80s. I don't know, kind of died out in the mid-90s, it seems like. But the Decatur Pride, they were like the best on the planet. I mean, it was on television or local news. You heard about fast, and everybody played it. It was a big deal. And you think that playing that all that summer helped you?
Oh, 100%, because we were playing the Decatur Prides.
No kidding.
Yeah. And that the one time, I think Dave Scott, they probably, I think they paid him like $60,000 a year to pitch. And then they had a guy from New Zealand, Chub Tangaroa, who pitched for him for a couple of years. I think they paid him like $100,000
to play softball.
To play softball. And I remember one time we're playing down in Taylor Springs when we had a team down there, and we're playing the Pride. Chubb's pitching, and I don't know how hard he's throwing, but got a foul ball,
right?
Hit a foul tip, struck out. I was on cloud 9. I got a foul tip.
Just touched the ball.
Just touched the ball against now an ASA Hall of Famer, et cetera,
right.
The best on the planet at the time. I'm like, well, that's a success.
Yeah. Well, you got to take it where you
how can a strikeout be a success? But it was.
Yeah, sure. So you get done, you play your 2 years of college, you come back home. Mm-hmm. What were you doing then? What was?
Just kind of odd jobs, this and that. Moved away for a while, came home, applied for the prison. And
why did you pick corrections? I try to ask it.
I'll be honest. I knew at some point I was going to have a family. I had buddies who worked there that, good benefits, good pay. My family's from Hillsboro. I knew I didn't want to move. I wanted to be close to my parents, in case they ever needed anything. And
sure.
That's really where the path I chose.
Yeah. So you go through the academy. Mm-hmm. Now, you hired in 1990. You were in the first class?
Correct. I was the first class at Taylorville.
Okay. So in 1990, while the Taylorville Correctional Center was being built, they hired in 3 huge classes to go through the academy. You were in the first class. So while you guys complete the academy, the prison is still not built yet. You guys get farmed out.
Correct.
Well, now, where did you go?
I went to Menard for my first 9 weeks and Stateville for my second 9 weeks.
Boy.
I mean, so it was the worst of the worst.
Menard and Stateville, 2 maximum security prisons in the state of Illinois. I remember years ago when I was in the service, this was early 90s, reading an article, and they were like in the top 10 worst prisons in the country. I think Stateville in this article was like number 1 or number 2, and Menard was in there too. These are rough. John Wayne Gacy was down there. I mean, yeah.
100%. So. It was very eye-opening for a 22-year-old kid from Hillsboro. And on day 1 at Menard, we're shaking down a yard line coming off the yard. And they have a street, what's called Front Street.
Yep. And
there's a tower right at the corner. A couple guys refuse to shake down, and the guy in the tower fires off like 3 mini 14 rounds. day one, hour like number 2. So when we get off work that night, there's a little liquor store right by the little hotel we're staying at. I think we got 8 cases of beer between 9 of us. Wondered what was going on, and the next day when we got back from work, the hotel manager had put notes on our pillows. If you think you need to drink and carry on like you did last night, you might have chose the wrong line of work.
Boy, isn't that something, though?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So they knew that you guys obviously were all working at the prison. They've probably done that before.
Yes.
Because a lot of prisons were being built back in then. We're trying to, gosh. But you went back.
Yeah, went back the next day, did our thing, and it was very eye-opening, And we had one instance where we were on 3 to 11, the group that I was with, and I had just got the West House shower keys. And back in that time, they would bust the guy's cells down, they would walk out, go into the shower, and the officer on day shift's like, hey, whatever you do, don't go down there. It's a death trap. It's 3 steps. Officers do not go in there. Next thing I know, this little inmate comes sprinting out of there. I'm like, what the heck's going on? All the upper echelons start showing up. Long story short, the Northsiders gang killed their own chief in the shower,
man.
Stabbed him 18 times, and I had to help carry him out. And yeah.
So now you know, not only, okay, you're a witness to that as a young guy. How old were you?
22.
You're 22 years old. Okay. So now you're dealing with that. But you know you got to go back. And not only that, you also know, I'm thinking from a prison perspective, they just took out their own chief. So now there's going to be a power struggle. What's going to happen there?
Yeah, it was different. I had to stay there. I think I finally left the prison at midnight or 1 o'clock. Springfield flew in, had to get interviewed by Springfield, the whole bit. And that was I think it was on Friday because that was our go home day. And then that next Monday, when we meet in Taylorville, because we would get on the bus or drive ourselves, I remember the assistant warden Suggs.
Oh, really?
Called me in the office and says, hey, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. What do you mean? Well, you just saw, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you want to stay back here? No, I want to go back with my buddies.
Yeah.
I started this journey. I want to finish it. I said, I'll be fine.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the appropriate course of action. Looking back as years later, do you think that was the right thing to do? Or do you think maybe a guy needs to take a week off because,
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I can still see
sure
the situation, the outcome. No, I think it was smart to get your feet back wet, go right back working West House, and do your deal.
Yeah. You talk about how you can still see it. I remember we had an incident there in Seg where a guy hung himself one time, and I was working Seg. I just come back, and he ended up living. But when I walked in and looked through the little viewer, and you see somebody hanging, I'd never seen that before. That's your brain takes a picture. Mm-hmm. This is the best thing I've tried to tell people that, when you see something like that, that's just, you don't see somebody get stabbed 18 times. You've never been around it. Your brain goes and takes like a little picture of that moment that I think you can bring back.
You don't ever forget it. And yeah, it never goes away. I mean, but every day that we went inside that facility or we left our loved ones when we left on Monday morning, you knew every day could be your last. I mean, it could be your last day. Once the gate slammed, you wanted to make sure you could come out, but there was a 50% chance you weren't coming out.
There was the two places that I shook down from the academy was Menard and Stateville. And I can remember pulling in. That's just evil. That place looks like a castle built into the side right off the river. You turn, we pull in, and I know I'm walking out that day. We're just there shaking down. Of course, they got them all locked up for us because we're
100%.
just,
Yep.
And they still had the condemned unit then, which I know they did when you were down there because that was before I started working. And we actually went on to the condemned unit and shook it down. But anyway, I can remember just thinking how evil, how bad. Then you walk through that gatehouse, and at the time they had bronze, if I remember right, they were plaques of all the staff members that had been killed there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're walking by there, and it's a lot different than working at Taylorville. I can tell you that. I mean, it's just a whole nother vibe that place is. And I got a cousin that retired from there, and I always wonder how guys like that, you do 25 years in something like that, man. That's
You have to be a special individual to do 25 years at a max joint.
100%.
I mean, just like at Stateville, that's where I shook down while we were at the academy at Stateville. So I saw it. But day one at Stateville, we stand roll call. They're like, Cerutti F house.
That's the roundhouse.
That's the roundhouse.
Okay.
Literally look at the lieutenant and go, where's the F house? Where's F house? He goes, ask an inmate. Totally different.
We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
We're not in Menard
right,
anymore.
Yeah, true.
So I walk in this F house.
Which is a roundhouse for anybody listening to this. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I've got to explain it. It was considered the worst house, I think, probably in the state, because the staff is in the middle. It was built, probably early 1900s. It is an old idea. And the whole thing is round, so the inmates could look out. How many galleries was there?
I believe 6.
And you can look out, so they can look across. They can see the staff in the middle, and then they can look and see each other and the whole. Okay, so now you get assigned to that.
I get assigned to that. We walk in. It's an acting sergeant who's got probably 6 months in. It's me and a tower officer who's sitting in the middle in the tower.
Three staff.
3 staff, and 2 of us don't have 8 months between us.
And how many convicts?
I want to say
several hundred at least.
I think it housed 400 or 500. Yeah. That's where I got introduced to Richard Speck. Richard Speck.
Oh yeah, the Richard Speck.
The Richard Speck was housed at F House, and you would have thought he was a celebrity. I mean, he had the run of the place, and Stateville and Menard, 2 different.
A lot looser up at Stateville.
A lot looser. There were some good people up there.
Right.
Great people. But yes, just totally different.
So was that before the Spec tapes came out?
Yes, that was before the Spec tape. So then when I was at Taylorville, and you might have already been hired at Taylorville.
96 is when I got hired.
I can't remember when the Spec tape surfaced, but then that's when allegedly we took control again.
Yeah. Well, I hired in 96, and I was part of that. We're taking the prisons back. That was that summer. I think the Spec tapes had come out maybe, I don't know, a year or 2 before.
Probably 95, 94.
Yeah, but it takes, legislator time to get, but that was a black eye on corrections. We looked terrible because it made national news. This was a big thing at the time for, the younger kids that probably don't even know what we're talking about. He was a serial killer that had killed a bunch of nursing students up north.
I think 16.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And then they've got videos. I mean, he had cameras. He's in there drinking, smoking, doing drugs, and talking about how great he loves it. He's having sex. He's just having the time of his life. Had fun. I mean, it was horrible. And so when that gets out and that goes public, of course, it makes corrections look bad. And that's when they brought in, wasn't it Detella, to clean up Stateville?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, and I think that was 96, the year I hired, and they fired like 200 and some staff.
Yes.
At Stateville. Yeah. So that's interesting that you have insight before that whole thing even kicked off, that you were there and saw it. And it was.
I got to see. I got to see a lot of stuff. I mean, like when the last execution in the state of Illinois was in 62, I believe, and we were there for when they did the first one since 62.
The next one, yeah.
Charles Walker.
Yeah.
And we were there in the officers' quarters working at the prison, and it was like a circus.
How were the inmates? I mean, as far were they really had you guys clamping down on them, or well, more so?
They were on lockdown when the execution happened, but yeah, it was no different. They
Just another day, basically.
Yeah, another day.
Yeah, we've worked with guys that actually worked execution details, which is wild. So, okay, you get done there, you come back to Taylorville. What'd you think whenever, were you there before they started getting the inmates?
Yes.
Okay. Which had to have been nice.
Yes.
You go from that environment, it's like, man, that's almost like your boot camp. You've been to war, so to speak, and now you get to come here. We're coming to a minimum security institution that you don't even have inmates, so there's some downtime, and then you start getting inmates in, it starts filling up.
Yeah.
How did that go?
I went good. Thankful to be off the road.
Oh, I bet.
Thankful to be at Taylorville. And when we started getting inmates, we were getting inmates from Menard, Stateville.
Right.
You know, people would dump on us. So the clientele that we had just left, we were getting minimum security inmates, but we were also getting, you know, guys that had done already 30, 40 years and maybe had 3 or 4 left.
Right.
So, yeah, we had, like I said, it was nice to be home.
Well, I know throughout my career working there, it seemed, because I hired in again in 96, but a lot of those guys that are working their way down from max joints end up being your best inmates. Now, maybe not at that time because they're probably kicking a lot of, there was one individual that I remember the first time I had to work segregation. Somebody came in and they're like, I don't want to mention any names, but they're like, you watch that guy, and I think he was in cell 2 or 3, maybe 3. They're like, you watch him, he's worthless. You know, he'll try to jab you with a needle. He'll try to, you know who I'm talking about probably.
I believe we had a circuit rider. I think
yeah,
we had a
circuit
rider.
Okay, well, yeah, all right. So that's something that we hadn't had circuit riders. I don't know when they ended that.
We only had a handful of them, but they were, that guy in particular, if I remember right, he was on some high potent like AIDS medicine too, and
it was diabetic,
and he didn't want to take it. He just throw it in the toilet,
or he'd jab himself.
Yep.
And then now he's got the needle loaded up, and he wanted to start negotiating.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, and then if you know, of course, you can't really go in on him because all he's got to do is start jabbing you. You know, but yeah, the circuit riders, that was something that I remember they brought one in one time. I was on second shift. I don't even remember the guy's name, but they said this guy was so dangerous. Okay, is what they told us. You can't even talk to him. I don't know if you remember. They had a sign up on the door that only lieutenants and above can speak to him. Do you remember that? And so you're walking down and the guy, hey, CO, what are you going to do? You know,
I do remember him. I think he was the same guy that if it was 1:30 in the morning and he wanted a sandwich, the lieutenant would go get him a sandwich.
That's him. Yeah.
Yep.
Same guy. Yeah. And yeah, that.
How do we get on the circuit and then coddle him?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I think he was just, you know, but you'd read his background. He had tunneled through a cell and he'd killed several other inmates while he'd been locked up. And then they had him at, I don't know what joint he was at. And him and his cell, or the guy next to his cell, because they had him in isolation, had gotten into it. And the guy kept complaining, hollering at the staff saying, hey, he's tunneling in. He's tunneling in here. They're like, oh, shut up, you know. And then come to find out, they finally, the guy's like, hey, he starts refusing, and they go in, and he had tunneled out like several, and then he had some kind of paste or something that he would repaste over.
That's some Shawshank shit.
It was, and he was like a couple blocks away from being able to go into this guy's cell, and so I think that's what they put him on the circuit for.
Wow.
You worked 25?
28.
You did 28 years.
28 years. The day that I hired in, I knew I had an out date. I could not go till April 28th when I turned 50. And on May 1st, it'll be 7 years in May now.
You got out when you could.
The day.
Yeah, I was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first day I could retire, I got out. You know, it was early. I think it was a lot easier for me coming in because, you know, when I had 6 years in, and I was talking to somebody the other night, I looked up to you guys because, you know, here I am, you know, fresh out of the Army, just got married, just had a daughter. I got hired. You guys had all been farmed out. I look at somebody now when I retired, if you got 6 years in, it's like, man, you're barely outside of rookie status. But at the time, anything you guys said, I did. It was like, hey, I need you to go do this. Yep. Well, when I hired in, you were a sergeant. Mm-hmm. And one of my first memories on midnights was...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, well, you remember the midnight days. I was only on there for a year, but holy cow. Yeah, well, we go up into Central, and there was this old inmate, fresh out of the academy, and you're trying to learn how do you talk to inmates, how do you deal with inmates, you don't know anything other than what you've been taught. And of course, you get to your institution, what does everybody tell you? Forget everything they taught you.
Yep, forget everything.
So you're a sergeant, and I remember they called the inmate up. He was a porter or something and had to get shook down. And he comes in, and you're like, and you start, and he's like, screw you, Cerutti. And you're like, hey, now, easy. And I start laughing, but I'm thinking, man, this sergeant's going to let this guy, but you start learning. There's a give and a take, and
There's a big give and take, yes. If they want to disrespect you, you can disrespect them a lot faster.
Yeah.
Or if they want to, respect goes both ways.
And it's amazing how much you learn from guys like you.
But you and pros, and there was others about that time who came in and were no different than us, who had been there. And you guys were willing to learn, and we knew that if there was something serious happen, even though you guys were new, you were going to jump right in with us. And not stand back, and you were going to be just like us. And
there were some pretty serious things, even at Taylorville.
100%.
The riot. Mm-hmm. We lost a housing unit in a minimum security, unit or minimum security prison. You had a riot. You had. I was there when the guy's head got cut off.
Right. I just told that story the other day. I'm like, this guy allegedly committed suicide, but the only thing attached was his spine.
Yeah.
I'm like, physically impossible.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff that was happening back then.
Yeah, it was a great place to work, great people.
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's get into duck hunting.
All
right. Well, before we get into duck hunting, there's two stories I was thinking about that we can tell, the stories that we can get into, and it was 2 court writs that you and I were on. And the first one was we had taken a guy to court. On the way over, it was a meth conspiracy thing. He had gotten X amount of years, and he was, oh man, they think they've got this on me, and they've got that, and they don't have nothing. And he's thumping his chest and really putting on, he's a peacock.
Yep.
And we get over there, and it wasn't the county state's attorney. It was, they'd brought in an attorney from the Attorney General's office. And when he started in on that guy, it was unbelievable. He's like, listen, I know you don't think we have any. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, yep. A lot of times, they think they're smarter, and this guy was no joke. He had him.
I'd never seen anything like that. When he went to work on him, you don't think we know about this, but we do, and you don't think we remember this and this and this, but you don't. And you could just see that guy's face, just like, oh my God, they had everything about him. That one was one I remember. And then the other one was when we had went, and it was the guy was drunk and hit and killed this kid. And we go to the courthouse. I think you remember that, mm-hmm. Yeah. And we walk in, and the bailiff sets us down, and we're in the jury box, and there's nobody in the courtroom but 2 people.
The victim's parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he leans over and goes, those are the parents of the kid I killed. And I'm like, oh, man. I remember watching you, and I remember you kind of set up straight or kind of adjusted yourself, and we're both sitting there, and that dad is just staring daggers at him. And because there's nobody else in there but me and you, and you're armed, I'm armed. Yeah, you would have been armed. So I'm going to be the guy that's got to wrestle around with this guy. So, and you start thinking, well, you don't blame the guy.
You start playing, what if it was your child?
Exactly.
And so we knew we could be in a situation, but we also understood what the mom and dad were feeling at the time.
Yeah.
So, that was yeah.
That was a wild one. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the duck hunt. How old were you when you started duck hunting?
8 years old.
8 years old.
So I've been doing it 48 years.
48 years. What are your earliest memories of? I'm assuming your dad started you on the duck hunting.
Yeah, my
journey.
dad, and we had a blind at Coffeen Lake at the time, and I remember that. But also my trips down to Southern Illinois with my dad and his buddies. So around 10, started making a yearly trip to Southern Illinois, and it made such an impact. I still go every year. We make a trip, and it's different now because then, you'd go down there, it'd be 500,000 Canada geese in the road, wherever. And it's not like that now, but it's still part of our heritage, part of our tradition. We make sure that we go once or twice every year.
What's changed? Did the Mississippi Flyway changed, or?
My personal opinion is the Flyway changed. It's shifted more west, but also Mother Nature. They can blame flooded corn or whatever, anything else anybody wants to complain about. But facts are facts. Mother Nature controls all, and by the lack of weather, we don't.
Meaning cold weather.
Cold weather. We don't get the migration, and states like Missouri and Kansas have really upped their game on the conservation side for the state, and then the landowners, where Illinois has really fallen behind.
What amazes me about waterfowlers is you guys have a dedication that other hunters don't have. And I've only waterfowl hunted, well, let's see, really, with you. And then now me and Uke, we went chasing Canada geese around Lake Payne one time, and we had fun doing it,
sure.
But it wasn't, you're the only serious duck hunter that I've ever went duck hunting with. The guys that go out and set up decoys every morning. Now, I know you've got a spread where you've got them out, which is
right.
nice.
We have a really nice setup.
They're busting ice sometimes every morning. I mean,
Yes.
depending on the time of year. That takes dedication, and it's freezing cold.
Waterfowlers, in my opinion, are a different breed. We don't have a lot of sense. We're going to go. If you have the opportunity to go, you're going to go. If you have to cut ice with a chainsaw, you're going to do it, because it could be that day.
Meaning they're dropping in.
Where the skies just open up.
And those moments make it all worthwhile.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them, and it's and I can't remember the year. It was do you remember the ice storm?
What year?
It was a massive ice storm. It would have been around 2000, 2005, 6, somewhere in there.
Is that the one when Taylorville, the all the limbs were breaking and falling off and popping all the transfer? Okay, yes. Yeah, I do remember that.
Those of us who braved it made it to the duck blind, and as soon as it got light, it was like the Grand Passage. I mean, as high as you could see them, they were specks. You'd call at them, and they would just come straight down. It was amazing.
Now, do specks, they have a limit?
Yeah, specks are 2, but I mean, the ducks look like specks. They were that high. They were just
okay.
that
I thought
high.
you meant you were hunting speck by
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Wow. That's another thing too with you guys on the waterfowling, how how do you keep the regulations straight?
I mean, I've been doing it for 48 years. So back when I started, it was a point system. Like you were allowed 100 points per day.
Okay.
So a pintail was 10. You could kill 10 pintails, but a mallard hen was 70. So if you killed a mallard hen and a mallard drake, you were done. That was your two birds, because you couldn't go over 100.
Okay.
We didn't have any pintails back then.
All right.
So to kill 10 pintails where I hunted was just
and
non-existent.
Even that, to me, when you're looking up and they're coming in, you got to be able to, I mean, how many duck species is there that you can hunt? A gadwall from a spoonbill to a canvas back.
You could tell.
I grew up, we were hunting squirrels, rabbits,
Sure.
quail, pheasant. And then when the deer come in, when that got big. But now you grew up hunting birds too, upland.
Yeah, we were big quail hunters. We had German short hairs.
Oh,
and
great dogs.
my dad raised quail. We would raise 250 to 500 quail a year. They would go to Springfield, get them off a plane, day-old chicks. Yeah, and there was one time where old George, they might have been going to Las Vegas or wherever mom and dad were going. It's like, hey, now you're going to have to take care of these quail. Whatever you do, don't put the heat lamp anywhere near the water while I'm gone. I won't, Dad. I won't. Get in a hurry.
Yeah.
Did it. Next day, if we had 500 quail babies, I think we were left with 100.
Oh, boy.
I killed them all.
Oh, man.
When he got home,
Oh,
not good.
Yeah.
And we ended up raising pheasants also.
yeah.
Turn them loose, so yeah.
How was your success rate on that?
We had pretty good success. And the way we did it was back then, let's say we killed 16 quail off a farm, we would turn loose 32. And we had consistent coveys year in, year out.
How do you? Okay, but they're coming from a pen to the wild, so now they're coming from being fed to. Did you have any secrets on that? I've heard guys that would go get combine screenings where the weed seeds, and they would transition them from that to, and then callback pens. Did you guys have callback?
We had callback pens. I say we had success, but who really knows?
Well,
we kept birds. I mean, we kept birds where we hunted. And now today, if I see a covey of quail along the road, I get excited.
Isn't that terrible?
I get excited.
You know, the big game, the deer and the turkey has really come around in Illinois in our lifetime. It went from almost non-existent, well, certainly with turkeys, to now, a lot of success. But boy, I miss the quail and the
Oh yeah, there's something to be said about a good covey rise and a point, and there again, heritage.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got your place. You still got your place in Coffeen. How many years have you guys hunted out of that blind or the lake?
The Coffeen Lake closed. We lost.
it did?
We lost. Well, you can still hunt it, but you can boat in. You have to boat in now. Where we had a permanent blind. My dad was a coal miner.
Right.
We drove right through the coal mine to our blind, and then when the coal mine shut down, I think it stayed the same for 3 or 4 more years, possibly. And then when I was around, so we've been at the Hillsborough Lake for 45. So when I was about 11, they closed it and then reopened it sometime in the 90s.
But you still hunt there? No?
I have not ever waterfowl hunted at Coffeen since.
So it's all been down south?
Yeah, and Hillsborough Lake.
Oh, Hillsborough. Okay.
Hillsborough Lake, that's where we're at now.
We've
We've been at our current blind location for 45 years.
And it's a blind with everything set up already there?
It's a 24-foot blind. We cook, and our decoys are set, which is, it's nice.
If you're going to duck hunt, that's kind of like the optimum way to go, isn't it? I mean, having it where everything's...
Yes. Now, are you going to kill them day in and day out? Absolutely not. But I have a guy who's 80 or 81 who still hunts with me, who was my dad's friend. And
the stories he tells, it's got to be awesome.
They're unbelievable. And if he wants to hunt, I'm hunting. Because at some point, I'm going to be, hopefully 80, 81, still have the drive, and somebody's going to do the same for me.
Yep. That's awesome. I know one time you and I were, working, and you were telling me about you did keep like a ledger.
Yep.
I don't want to say the little journal.
Yeah, I used to write down like our daily harvest on a calendar and then tally them at the end of the year. And now we've changed over where we cut like a 2x2 sheet of plywood, screw it in the blind, make a calendar on it, and then that goes back to my barn, and we put them up on the walls.
From what year?
I have records back to 2000, and if push comes to shove, I probably have them farther, probably to at least 98.
And that's how many were killed in the blind?
In the blind. And then I also had a section where if we hunted a field or if we went down to southern Illinois, Because I think for 5 or 6 years, maybe 7, we leased ground in Southern Illinois. So we were hunting here.
Was that when I went down there with you?
Yes, you hunted
was it Olive
Branch.
Olive Branch, yeah.
Yeah, Horseshoe Lake. It used to be called the goose capital of the world, and we used to lease ground there.
All I remember about that day was everything was flying high. They weren't coming in on us. Two birds come in. I think I shot and missed. You shot them both. The river was at our back. We're in a flooded field. There was like a little, I'm going to say clubhouse.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. We would go there, put on our waders and everything, and get out there. And it was below zero.
Yeah, it was cold.
Mike, that might be one of the coldest hunting trips we were ever on. And I remember you called your son, and you're like, "Hey, do me a favor, bud." You're like, do your goose call.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So he's doing a call over a phone and sounds like a goose.
Yeah, my youngest, Luke, used to be able to call geese with his mouth.
It's unbelievable.
And yeah, it was really good.
He's incredible at that.
He can't do it anymore. He says he can't do it anymore, but I think he still can.
Yeah, just chooses not to.
Oh yeah.
But we had that wind in our face, and I remember there was some point where I lost feeling in my cheek.
There has been a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people want to duck hunt. It can go from 40 degrees to 20 below in a matter of an hour. And if you're not prepared for it, like our big duck blind, I mean, we have heaters, cook stoves. Just like home. If you wanted to sit in there, you could take your coat off.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I remember that day. I remember saying to you, "Hey, Mike," we got up, we went back, and I remember as we're warming up, everything's getting warm, but there was parts of my cheek and my nose, and it wasn't coming back along like I thought it ought to. And I honestly, there for a little bit, I thought I got frostbit.
Oh, I promise you probably did.
Yeah, I remember. I'm like, "Hey, Mike, I think." Might have waited a little bit longer on this one, but yeah.
Like I said, it goes back to we're a different breed. Not a lot of sense.
And what do you attribute that to?
I really think that my dad starting me when he started me, and then me starting my sons, it's just bred into you, and it's part of your legacy, part of your heritage.
It's a grit.
Yeah, it's you either love it or you hate it. And when you can get a flock of ducks to do exactly what you want them to do, it's unreal.
And your boys, you talk about your son. I say boys, they're men now, which we all joke, but gosh, it's amazing. I've met one of your sons, I think, one time, which he wouldn't remember. But I can tell stories about him.
I know the one you like to tell.
Oh yeah, yeah. But you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's the fact that us growing, or working together all those years, you're coming in telling stories. I'm telling you stories about my kids and
sure.
all of us,
Sure.
And you listen to them growing up, and then you think, dadgum, they're men, and
Yeah, and working with people as long as we have, if you really think about it, we spend as much time with our coworkers as we do with our family. So I believe a lot of my coworkers at Taylorville were like family. So you would tell stories about your kids, or you just.
And I think the reason we get closer in a prison, even a minimum security prison, I was thinking, trying to analyze it. Why do we get so close to each other as far as like a bond? Most jobs don't have the downtime that we have.
Correct.
Because, 90% of corrections, depending on what job you have in the facility or if you're on the road or what you're doing, but most of it is you're waiting on something bad to happen. You're just keeping an eye on things and observing. That's
Correct.
Our job.
Yep.
So you have a lot of time to talk to, if you're out on the yard with somebody, we got a lot of time just to, as we're walking around the yard, we're talking, or if we're,
Right.
And so we get a chance to talk to each other a lot more, I think, than most occupations do,
Mm-hmm.
and so you learn a lot about them. And you duck hunters, all the guys up there that were the duck hunters, it blew me away because I'd never grown up waterfowl.
I would rather waterfowl hunt than hunt anything else.
And everybody that's into it is that same way.
Right. I'm a deer shooter.
Right.
I'm a duck hunter.
Yeah.
And hell, my boys slept on a bus seat. When they started, they were 6 and 3. So if they got cold, we had a bus seat in the back of the blind. They take a nap because we're duck hunting.
And they're still that way.
They're still that way. My oldest son, Reed, works at the prison at Graham.
Yep.
Has a wife and a couple kids. But he had a stretch for about 5 years where he made duck and goose calls.
I remember. I've got.
Yep. He would turn them
one
on
or
a
two of them.
lathe, and
Yeah.
his spec calls were really, really good. And you have kids, you get busy, you get a job at the prison, you quit. At some point, I hope he takes that back up. And then my youngest son, when he was probably 8 or 9, he says, "I want to work there." There was videos out and talking about Habitat Flats. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Now, what is Habitat Flats?
Habitat Flats is the number one waterfowl destination in the United States.
Okay.
They have an operation in Canada and in Northwest Missouri. And
That's the main. So if you're going to be a waterfowl guy, that's the place to be, or at least one of them.
yes, and if you are a duck hunter, that's a trip you want to take
Okay.
because it's everything and a cup of tea. It's that good, and I've killed a lot of duck. It's that good. So for the last 10 years, lo and behold, he's worked for Habitat Flats.
How awesome is that?
It's pretty cool.
I mean, especially that's got to be not for him. That's one of his dreams as a kid. Now he's living it.
Sure, he's living it. He's in Canada right now. They have working up there, and it's
So as we're talking, he's up in Canada chasing ducks and geese.
yeah. And he had a rough night last night. He texted me. He says, "Man, me and Tank, which is his dog, are wore out. We killed 155. I may not kill 155 all year." And him and his clients did it on one hunt. So
That is incredible. Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah. So now, okay, so he's hunting, doing that. But even for you as a father, looking at your sons, of course they're doing well, and
Sure.
Okay, the duck hunting, as far as we got into a little bit about the different species and all that. Okay, the Canadian geese,
Mhm.
the snow geese,
Yep.
and speckle bellies, right?
Yep.
All right. The Canadians, you can only kill X amount depending on where you're at.
Depending on what season, early season, you can kill 5, which is I think September 1st through the 15th, and then during actual waterfowl season, and I think you can kill. I think it's 3. And snow geese, you can kill 20 a day until February 1st. Then you can kill unlimited.
And what about the speckle bellies?
Specks are 2.
Okay.
They're 2.
Do you have a favorite of those?
I'll be honest, I really enjoy shooting specks over the other 2 because to me they decoy more like a duck.
What's the difference then between decoying like a duck or decoying?
I don't know. They just act different when they're flying, and when you get a flock to commit, I don't know how to explain it. I do not know how the Canadian geese, Canada geese. Don't get me wrong, I love shooting them all.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
do you have a favorite duck?
mallard.
Mallards.
Yeah.
Is that considered kind of? What are most duck hunters typically that way?
There's a lot of mallard purists
Okay. Explain that.
where all they want to do is shoot mallards.
Okay.
Well, my duck stamp says duck stamp. It doesn't say mallard stamp. So if I'm duck hunting, I'm shooting a spoonbill, I'm shooting a ringneck. It doesn't matter.
Is there any duck you won't shoot?
A coot.
Okay. I hear that.
Because I believe that if you're going to shoot it, you must clean it and you must eat it.
Amen.
So,
And they just don't taste well, do they?
what?
The coots.
I've never tried.
Yeah.
I've never tried.
Now, the one thing I learned from you that I never knew whenever we were heading down there, because I always had a lot of questions. We'd go down, not
Sure.
know anything about it. I'd be like, well, what about this? There's a difference between what you guys call a puddle duck and a diving duck.
Correct.
Explain the difference.
A puddle duck will mostly feed in grain fields, flooded corn, flooded beans, wetlands, where diving ducks will feed on fishy substances, we'll call them, not necessarily 100% fish, but like canvasbacks love wild celery, which is up on the Mississippi River, big bay up there. But yeah, that's the difference on really just what they eat.
And that affects the taste of the meat.
Yes, but if you put enough garlic on anything, you can make it taste right.
More people look at, I mean, it's kind of, the puddle ducks are considered kind of a little higher up on the
food chain.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So that's what most guys want to go after. Have you killed, I guess, every legal species of duck you can kill in Illinois? Are you aware of? Or is there some ducks we just don't get here?
There's some that we don't get that come through our Mississippi flyway. We've started to shoot, I think 2 years ago, we killed a white-winged scoter. My oldest son did.
I never even heard of that.
That's typically a sea duck, Great Lakes, East Coast, West Coast.
Oh, wow.
That old guy that I talk about, Denver, he killed a old squaw, which is the same way, predominantly Great Lakes, and then they filter out East Coast, West Coast. But we're getting more ducks. In southern Illinois now, they have seen some Mexican, some tree ducks, they call them. They're kind of migrating further up north from Texas.
Really?
White-bellied tree ducks or something like that, yeah.
Now, have you seen any of those?
I have not.
No.
I have not.
I'll be darned.
The duck, one duck I'd really like, I'd love to kill a cinnamon teal at some point.
Okay.
I've killed green wing, blue wings. We do not get cinnamon through this flyway unless it is just lost.
Now, the teal, they're one of the earliest migrators, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, around here, typically, they're leaving, what, September?
Our season here comes in like September 9th through the 22nd. And there's a lot of times that our blue wings, the majority of blue wings are already in Texas by then. And again, Mother Nature.
Right. Yeah. And they're a little fast one, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And they
Real
just
fast.
come flying through.
Dip and dart, fun to shoot.
Have you hunted out of state any?
I've hunted Arkansas, and Missouri. I've been to Habitat Flats with my youngest son. We had a group that was going. I think we went 3 years out there, and then I went 1 year by myself. And yeah, it's just amazing.
That's awesome.
Epic. We're trying to plan maybe a Canadian trip. And South Dakota is on our bucket list, our little group.
Is that still the Mississippi Flyway?
Yes, Missouri, yes.
No, I meant the Dakotas.
South Dakota, North Dakota, yes.
So how far does that flyway go?
North Dakota, I believe, is the start, and it's all the way then down into Louisiana, Arkansas.
And then just basically, it follows kind of the Mississippi
Funnels the
River.
states
Yeah.
up on each side of the Mississippi River, yes.
Yeah. I'll be darned. And at one time, wasn't that kind of the best flyway? Or?
It was the premier flyway, yes. And the migration is shifting more west. I mean, at any given time, like where Luke's at, they call it the Golden Triangle. You have Fountain Grove, Swan Lake, and then the Grand Pass. And their operation is right there. And there you can blink your eye and there'll be 500,000-600,000 ducks right there. Where Illinois might have 200,000 spread throughout the whole state, where you have 3 refuges in the northwest part that are holding all those ducks. And then Kansas is the same way.
I'll be darned. It seems like of all the hunters, you guys, just the knowledge of the rules and the love and the passion, and guys talking about there was a day, I want to say, and I could be way off, it was the Veterans or Armistice Day.
Armistice Day, like I think 1941.
Explain that.
So that they call that the day the duck hunters died. It started out, like we were talking earlier, 50, 60 degrees, and then a big northwest wind came up, storm.
Before the days of Doppler radar.
Yes, before, this was the early days, and a massive front came in. Those guys had wooden John boats. They had this and that, and I can't remember. I have the book on it. I can't remember the exact number of people that passed, but yes, hunters were trapped on the lake, or if they did get to shore, they froze to death. Because they were waiting on it just snuck up that fast.
And that was all over the Midwest.
All
wasn't
over
it?
the Midwest, yes.
Yeah, that this bad storm blew in and changed. I forget the degree swing in like so many hours was like it's like an 80-degree something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go out and it's nice day, 50s, like and then
And dressed for
right.
50-degree weather. And then it turns just a 360 and they're caught off guard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. But you guys, the duck hunters, I'm saying, I don't know, your understanding of the animals has always impressed me. Your understanding of like the history and the stories. Listening to duck hunters is just different than listening to, all hunters. We all have stories.
Right.
But it's
and I'm a big historian with waterfowling.
yeah.
I'm a collector. I collect. I maybe have a handful of wooden decoys, but I have a lot of antique decoys, 300 calls.
And a lot of you guys are just that way.
Pictures. I just came up with a really neat item the other day. So back in late 70s, early 80s, my dad used to make styrofoam decoys.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have a couple on our shelf in my barn. So I remember my dad telling me that he had sold them to so-and-so, the molds.
Right.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I'm talking to the guy's grandson who had passed, asking, hey, was there any waterfowl stuff laying around, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, man, there's a couple old decoy molds. I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
Holy cow.
I go, my dad said he sold those to your grandpa years ago. Is there any chance I could get those? I said, name your price.
Right.
He dug them out and gave them to me.
Wow.
So that's another little
link.
cool piece of the family history.
Yeah. That's amazing. Anything else we're leaving out? Anything else you want to hit on?
I can hit on my dad a little bit.
Yeah.
I got a good story about my pops.
Yeah, please do.
So of course he's a duck hunter.
Right.
Couldn't call worth a hoot.
Really?
But he always had guys who could call good hunt with him.
Right.
So my dad's a federal mine inspector.
Okay.
And he's hunting the Coffeen Lake when we still had the blind there. And it's one of those days. I mean, they just keep coming and coming. Yeah, and we've carried on his tradition, the boys and I have. We started a goose nesting project.
Okay.
Dad loved geese, and he
Right.
would drive around. So we now make, we've made probably 20 that we've given to other people, and they put them on Lake Hillsboro, and they put them out every year. And we usually raise, 40, 50 little goslings every year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just,
And that's another thing. A lot of people may not realize that, how conservation minded a lot of duck hunters are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, that's I know you're big in the DU, and you have been.
Yep.
I've got one more that story that when I think of you and the duck and goose hunting, this is what comes to my mind. Now, years ago, wasn't there was a time when there was no limits on the snow geese.
Oh, yeah. And there isn't. From February 1st to now April 15th, you can shoot as many as you want.
You can take the plug out of your gun.
Yep.
All that. They want them dead. And the reason is, why is that?
They are destroying the tundra where they're breeding grounds.
And somebody told me this. Isn't it one of the things they do is the way they eat the grass is different than Canadians? I don't know if you've heard that.
Yes, Canadian geese will pluck it, snip it.
Okay.
The snow geese will pull it.
All right. And
So there's places in the tundra, and they have fenced off areas where it's just bare dirt.
Because when they grab it, they pull the whole, like grass, they pull the whole root and all to where the Canadian nibbles it down.
Correct.
The roots are still there. That plant's going to grow back.
Correct.
Okay. So that's why kill them.
Yes.
They have, and their numbers are growing. And is it true that they don't decoy as well typically?
They decoy real well.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, because you can use electronic collars.
All right.
If there's any kind of gadget you want for that hobby, it's a frustrating hobby. The snow geese are, because you could have 100,000 fly over you, at least here,
Right.
and maybe kill 2. You know.
And you won't see that as much with the Canadians or the
No, if you're
specs?
set up on Canadians and specs, and if they fly over, you've got a pretty good chance. Snow geese, I mean, they got a mind of their own, and we hold a lot in the Coffeen area.
Yeah. Well, my story goes like this. You came into work one day, which you would bring me from time to time. You'd be like, hey, because, I don't, like I said, the only time I've ever duck hunted was with you. Hey, you want, and I like the taste of duck breast. To me, it's like a lot like liver. I like liver, though. Some people don't, but, liver and onion, that's kind of the way I would do it. But you come into work one day and you're like, hey, I got something I want to show you. I'm like, okay. I think we went in the back of the armory or something. You're like, hey, check this out. And you hand me this picture. And you're like, or before you do, you're like, hey, you hear a lot of people talking about, well, we shot a truckload of geese today. I'm like, yeah. You're like, here you go. That's a truckload of geese.
Fact. Yeah, and we've done that several times.
How does that work?
Back in the day, before we were set up with decoys and everything, we would find them on a roost and go jump shoot them. And you would get...
Which jump shooting is when you... Explain that.
When you find a pond full of birds, you'll crawl up the hillside, and then on 3, everybody shoots. And the carnage and, a lot of cleanup after that. I think the picture you're talking about, I think after the shooting was done, we all had shot a box of shells at cripples. The one year, I think we killed over 1,000.
It was unbelievable to see a picture of literally a truckload of geese. That how many guys were involved in that?
On that hunt in particular, I think there was probably 8 of us.
Okay, so 8 guys are killing however many geese will fit in the bed of a full-size, half-ton pickup truck. And you can only eat so much duck or goose or whatever. You give so much away. But then you were actually having it made into sausage.
Yeah, bratwurst.
And brats.
Jalapeno cheese. Now we do it into hot sticks.
It was good.
You cannot tell the difference. It's the same recipe as a deer recipe.
Yeah.
I got sticker shock the first time we did it. The boys are running around killing them like they're, hey, Dad, we killed this, we killed that. I'm like, clean them? Yep. So, they bring them home, clean them in the sink, put them in the freezer. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take these down to Highland at Cordy's. And I think I've got, I don't remember what it was, 200 or 300 pounds, or maybe 100 pounds of snow goose meat.
Okay.
And maybe more. Hey, I want it all in jalapeno cheese bratwurst. Okay. They call me a couple weeks later. I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, you want to take a ride, go pick up this snow goose meat? We go to the counter and be like, be $557. I said, you say what? And she looks at me and goes, $600 for snow goose meat? I don't even eat it? I'm like,
have I told you how much I love you, honey?
Oh, God dang. So, yeah, we, if you shoot it, you got to clean it. Yeah. That's what I told them. So,
yeah.
A lot of kids shoot them and ditch them.
Cool.
That's not right.
No. I don't care. I'm funny. I'll go out and I love to hunt, but I hate, I think most of us, so you don't want to see any animal suffer.
Correct.
And I hate hitting an animal in the car. Even a dadgum squirrel comes running out there. When you hit it, it seems like a waste.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I hate hitting squirrels or rabbits or anything, but go out and hunt them. Love to, because you're going to utilize that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But, well, brother, we've been out this over an hour.
Have we really?
Isn't that crazy?
I've enjoyed it.
It's fun, man. I've enjoyed having you in here. Hopefully we can get you back and we'll think of some other stories.
Maybe get you to the duck blind this year. Me and Kirk.
Man, I'd love that.
Yeah, absolutely. You've always got a open invitation.
Hey, I appreciate it,
always.
Mike. All right. Hey, it's always good talking to you.
All right, but take care.
Bye.